Cinema is the greatest mirror of humanity's struggle. We see this alternate world, but we are a part of it. Everybody is a part of it. A very good evening to one and all gathered here. It's indeed a great pleasure to welcome you all for the inauguration of the French Film Festival organized by the Department of French, Pondicherry University in collaboration with the Alliance Française of Pondicherry as part of the Francophonie Week celebrations. Extend your arms and welcome to the future. The best is yet to come, says Anthony de Mello, the famous writer. I now invite Dr. Sharmila Asharif, Head of the Department of French, Pondicherry University, to welcome the gathering.
A very good evening to the honorable guests on the dais, esteemed faculty members, students and film enthusiasts gathered here in the auditorium for the inauguration of the French Film Festival. This film festival is part of the various events which are being held in Pondicherry University to commemorate the International Francophonie Day, celebrated worldwide on 20th March every year. International Francophonie Day is a special occasion to celebrate French language as well as the values of solidarity, diversity, and sharing that unites the members of the large Francophonie family. I would like to extend a hearty welcome to Mr. Jean-Philippe Hutter, Deputy Consul, Consulate of France in Pondicherry and Chennai, who has graciously accepted our invitation. Your presence here adds a touch of distinction and importance to our event. It's indeed my privilege to cordially welcome Professor K. Tharani Karsu, our esteemed Vice Chancellor in charge, whose unwavering support to all our academic activity is deeply appreciated on this platform. The presence of another dignitary on this dais, Professor Clement S. Loot, Director Culture and Cultural Relations, is indeed a great source of strength to us, and as a department, we value his support and encouragement. Wholehearted welcome to you, sir. Alliance Française Pondicherry, our valued collaborator for this French Film Festival, is represented by its director, Mr. Laurent Jalicou. We are very happy to welcome you, sir, on this occasion, and your support has paved the way for the conduct of this French Film Festival. I extend a warm and enthusiastic welcome to my faculty colleagues of the Department of French, as well as the Dean and faculty colleagues of the other departments of the Pondicherry University. To all the students and film enthusiasts gathered here, I would also like to bring to your notice that this French Film Festival comes at a time when the entire world is celebrating the award of Oscar for Best Original Screenplay to the French movie Anatomy of a Fall, directed by Justine Triet and co-written with Arthur Harari. I welcome you all to enjoy this French Film Festival. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your warm words of welcome. In Tamil culture, to light a lamp is to invite brightness and joy to any occasion. It also marks an auspicious beginning to any event. I now invite our esteemed guests to light the lamp, marking the beginning of this inauguration. The famous French philosopher Blaise Pascal once said, "In a great mind, everything is great." I would now like to request Mr. Laurent Jalicou, Director, Alliance Française of Pondicherry, to deliver the inaugural address.
It's a great honor to be there, and as we are celebrating Francophonie, and as I know some of the faces here, I will speak in French and in English. And I'm sure all of you will understand, right? Right? Ah, merci. Merci beaucoup pour cet honneur. Merci beaucoup pour ce formidable moment que nous allons passer ensemble pendant une semaine. Nous abordons aujourd'hui le sujet de la francophonie, un phénomène dynamique qui transcende les frontières nationales et linguistiques. Au cours des années 2023 et 2024, la francophonie a continué à rayonner à travers le monde, illustrant sa vitalité et sa diversité culturelle. Avec plus de 300 millions de locuteurs dans le monde, la francophonie demeure un pilier de la communication internationale, unissant des personnes de différentes origines grâce à la langue française. Comme le soulignait le secrétaire général de la francophonie, Louise Mushikiwabo, la francophonie est un pont entre les peuples, un espace de dialogue et de partage où la diversité est célébrée. Francophonie, a true bridge between nations, unites millions of people through the French language and the values it carries. The number attests to its global reach. Nearly 88 states and governments are members of the International Organization of la Francophonie, and the French language is spoken on all the continents, from Africa to the Americas, from Europe to India and Oceania. As Indian writer and poet Rabindranath Tagore pointed out, the French language is like silk, both soft and strong, capable of binding hearts and minds beyond borders. The Alliance Française of Pondicherry also plays a crucial role in promoting French and language and culture by offering courses. I know some of the faces here, so I know that some of you are students, right? And also providing a number of programs. Mais quel meilleur endroit pour célébrer la francophonie que Pondicherry, la petite France. Nous connaissons tous l'École française d'Extrême-Orient, l'Institut français de Pondicherry, le consulat, bien entendu, et tellement de bâtiments et de mémoires qui lient la France et l'Inde harmonieusement à Pondicherry. Le département de français de l'université est un exemple éloquent de cet engagement envers la francophonie. En plus de ses programmes académiques de haute qualité, le département organise, et je l'espère que ce sera chaque année, de plus en plus souvent, ce French Film Festival, offrant une sélection diversifiée de films que j'espère vous apprécierez. Mais, vous le savez peut-être, nous allons également avoir une représentation théâtrale de haut vol le 20 mars dans votre centre, dans votre autre auditorium. Et je tenais à vous le préciser, il y a tout de même un formateur de la comédie française qui sera là et qui se produira parmi vous, ce qui est le plus haut niveau théâtral français. Mais quelle est la place du cinéma dans la francophonie ? Le cinéma francophone est un véritable joyau de la culture mondiale, j'ose le dire, je n'en suis pas peu fier, offrant des perspectives uniques sur le monde et suscitant des émotions universelles. Et comme l'a si poétiquement exprimé le légendaire réalisateur indien Satyajit Ray, le cinéma est la vérité 24 fois par seconde. Des réalisateurs francophones comme Jean-Luc Godard, Agnès Varda, Abdrahman Sissako ont su capturer l'essence de la francophonie à travers leurs œuvres, offrant au public une fenêtre sur des réalités diverses et enrichissantes. Le cinéma francophone est un catalyseur puissant de l'échange culturel, contribuant ainsi à renforcer les liens au sein de la communauté francophone, mais aussi au-delà. In conclusion, francophonie is much more than just a linguistic association. It embodies a spirit of openness, diversity, and dialogue that transcends borders and cultural differences. Among the initiatives highlighting this cultural richness, the French department of Pondicherry University stands out for its dynamism, notably through this very festival. Together, let us continue to nourish this flame of francophonie so that it may illuminate our path towards a future of mutual understanding and international cooperation. Merci beaucoup, Nandri.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur, pour ce discours. Thank you very much for enlightening us on how well spread francophonie is. We only see better with the heart. The essential is invisible to the eyes, says Antoine de Saint-Exupéry in his book Little Prince. I now respectfully invite Mr. Jean-Philippe Huder, Deputy Consul, Consulate General of France in Pondicherry and Chennai, to deliver the special address.
So, thank you very much. I'm very proud and I feel very happy to be here today with you, especially after Saint-Exupéry words. with which I'm very feel attached. I would like to say that Pondicherry is a cradle of Indian Francophonie. 4 government schools in the Union Territory of Pondicherry still offer programs in French, and the consulate, the Lycée Français of Pondicherry, and the French Institute in India work hand in hand with them. Thank you for learning French or speaking French. Thank you for your interest and loyalty. We are here for you, and we will celebrate French languages together throughout the month of March. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It's always a pleasure to learn the French language. To be inspired is great, but to be an inspiration is an honor. I would now like to invite Professor Clement S. Luth, Director, Culture and Cultural Relations, to felicitate the gathering.
Respected Vice Chancellor and all the eminent men and women on the stage, scholars and students, invited guests from various departments, faculty from various departments. I am very happy to be here with you all today. The French department is known for coming out with many innovative programs, and this program is no exception. But some of you may not be knowing what is the connection between film and literature. Why they are going to have films only, and through films what are we going to gain? Probably a little thought of this kind must have hovered on your mind. Being a student of literature and being a faculty who has been training the minds of the individuals, especially the students, for a very long time, for several decades, I can tell you it is all because of English dramas of Shakespeare. Literature was born. Before that, the literature existed, but literature was refined, fine-tuned because of Shakespeare. And you may ask me, what is the speciality in these plays that he wrote? The speciality is, for the first time, he has introduced a versification called blank verse easily into the plays. And as students are seated before me, I am tempted to make you feel what actually is the free verse, especially the blank verse, and how it is getting operated by Shakespeare. I think that it is not out of context here to quote a few lines from Romeo and Juliet, one of the very favorite plays that you might have enjoyed, or out of curiosity you must have read that play because it is a romantic one. There is a scene where Romeo is getting married to Juliet secretly in Friar Lawrence's cell, and this is known to both the parents, because the two families are polars apart, always fighting with each other, and they got married in a very, very delicate situation, and if it is known to the public, there will be bloodshed, there will be a lot of commotion, there will be a lot of other problems. Therefore, secretly they got married. By whom? By one Friar Lawrence. And the marriage happens in Friar Lawrence's cell, that's all. After that, nobody knows about the marriage. But unfortunately, what happened to Romeo thereafter, it is a very sad tale. he was involved in a murder for which he was banished from the country. And the second one, now they are going for a new groom for Juliet. This is something which she cannot tolerate. She immediately goes to Friar Lawrence's cell and says, "Father, you know that it is you married us, but now they are preparing for another marriage, that too with another unknown person, and what I am going to do? You only know the truth." And before Friar Lawrence could tell her a few words of consolation, the one who is going to get married to Juliet also comes there to Friar Lawrence's cell. He is none other than a person named Paris. And Paris comes. Why he comes to Friar Lawrence's cell? To fix the date of the marriage. And he finds that Juliet is also there with Friar Lawrence. And when he happened to see Juliet, he is very happy. And the conversation goes like this. This is what I wanted to tell you, my friends, how blank verse comes into play in the writings of Shakespeare. The moment this Paris sees Juliet in the chamber of Friar Lawrence, the conversation goes like this. Well met, my lady and my wife. But she is not his wife yet. Well met, my lady and my wife. Immediately Juliet says that maybe when I may be your wife. Again Paris gives a very apt answer to her, that maybe must be Wednesday next. Friar ends the conversation by saying, what will be shall be, that is a certain text. Now you can understand how the blank verse comes into play. And he wrote all the plays in blank verse, and you can't say that they are educative in nature. It is for mere amusement and entertainment he wrote the plays. That is why during the 20th century there was a big opposition of the plays of Shakespeare by another great man who was also a dramatist. Can any one of you name who was the dead enemy of Shakespeare? Usually Shakespeare has only friends, but unfortunately he has some enemies also. If I talk about the enemies, it would take one more hour. I will not dwell into it. But you must remember, his arch rival is none other than Bernard Shaw. Why Bernard Shaw opposed Shakespeare? For one reason. Bernard Shaw wanted the stage to be a school, and actors should be the teachers, audience should be the students. That means the actors should teach the audience, and every play should have a morality. If there is no morality in any play, it cannot be called as a play at all, according to Bernard Shaw. It should focus on a social issue. But Shakespeare plays are nothing but the plays of kings, queens, buffoons and fools. And in fact, he simply called it as a huge cow dung, nothing more than that. And taking one or two, precious stones out of it will not be of great use to us. But one strange thing happened during the 20th century when the Shakespeare admirers wanted to have an anniversary for Shakespeare. Do you know who was called as the chief guest? At Stratford-upon-Avon, the place where he was born and brought up. They wanted Bernard Shaw as the chief guest. Something very strange. I already told you he happens to be the arch enemy of Shakespeare. Why they called Bernard Shaw? For one simple reason. Bernard Shaw was a great humorist. The moment he comes to the stage, he will go on cracking jokes that will be enjoyed by everyone. There will be laughter and there will be lot of joy. This is what they wanted. When Bernard Shaw opens his mouth, they should all keep quiet. They should not laugh. And thereby, they will be able to humiliate Bernard Shaw. And he will go to his place knowing his position and he will not come back again. And that is going to be the end of his dramatic career. With that plan in mind, he was requested to speak. Bernard Shaw started speaking as usual, cracking jokes and full of humor. But nobody laughed. Nobody turned this side or that side. Everyone is looking at him with grave and suspicious eyes. This must have bewildered him, but he went on talking. Nothing could shake him. At last he ended the conversation by saying, "My dear friends, I understood very well that you did not like my speech. I cracked many jokes, but you did not laugh. But one thing you should not forget, all the jokes that I shared with you are taken from the complete works of Shakespeare. They are not mine. That I want to make you understand. By humiliating me, you have humiliated your hero, Shakespeare." That is what he said. So, after that, when we come to the French scenario, the birth of the modern drama, the credit goes to Margaret Duras, the very famous woman who wrote play after play. Even without knowing, she is entering into a new area of literature which later came to be called as postmodernism. It is something very marvelous, and one play alone I want to say a few words about it. You will be able to understand its greatness. When Margaret Duras wrote the plays, little she knew about postmodernism, but we understood from the plays that character can be minimized. There need not be any story. There need not be any plot, structure, place, or even a situation. These are the ingredients that make a story. But even without that, one can write a story, and she succeeded in the very famous story she wrote. Later, this was only a drama. Later, it was filmed, and it has become very, very popular. And this story is Le Squire. The Squire. The Squire consists of only 3 characters. One is a small boy. The other 2 are a middle-aged man and a young woman. They discuss something when they are standing for the bus stop, nothing more than that. What do they discuss? They discuss about happiness. What is happiness? Whether they have experienced that happiness in their life or not. The middle-aged man tells the young woman that he has experienced it. It is something like that has touched him and gone in a flash of a second. When did it happen? It happened in a zoo. Don't laugh, because this type of experience can come and strike you anytime, anywhere. And he says, I had this kind of an happiness. I experienced that in a zoo. I was so happy that my happiness generated into the caged animals. I felt that they are also feeling happy. To that extent, I was in ecstasy. But that did not last for a long time. After that, I went out of the zoo, lay down under a tree, slept peacefully. When I got up, the happiness has gone. That's all. Then he asked the other lady to tell about her experience regarding happiness. Young lady says, so far I never had that experience, and that experience would come to me the moment I get married. The man is surprised. The moment you get married. When are you going to get married? That will happen because I am attending ball every Saturday. The first man who is going to invite me to dance with him is going to be my future husband. And through him and through my family, I think I will be able to get that happiness which I have not achieved so far. With that, the story also ends. That's all. And both of them part. And The old man is asking the young girl, when can we meet again? Okay, somewhere in the ball, why don't you come and join me next Saturday? Probably, up to you. That's all. This is a situation, my dear friends, that's all. And from this situation, the French writer has made into a story. You can give any kind of interpretation to it. Another thing, when you read it, you should not say, sir has missed out on important detail which I find now in the text. The detail that I would like to tell you now, the entire text is without inverted commas, even though it is one kind of conversation of the two. The third one I told you is only a small boy. Let us forget him. In the conversation, inverted comma is very important. But unfortunately, who is talking to whom, you will not be knowing it. You have to guess. Margaret Duras wanted the readers should work with her. Gone are those days that a short story should have, situation, should have character, should have place and all that. And sometimes they say, the shortest of all the short stories in English is the story that I can tell you now within a few seconds. Two passengers are going in a bus. One passenger is asking the other one, do you believe in the existence of ghosts? Do you believe in the existence of ghosts? The other person says yes and disappears. That's all. I can even tell you a short story which is even shorter than the one. 2 lines. The first line, the last surveying man in the world is seated in a closed room. The last surveying man in the world is seated in a closed room. First sentence. Second sentence, he heard a knock. Story over. That's all. These are all the new techniques that are emerging up. But my dear friends, all these things, we should be grateful to the French writers. They are the pioneers who have entered into this field, experimented, and they have given us how to proceed. That is more important than a number of stories that you can write, taking the examples of the 2 that I related to you. From these 2 stories, why don't you make a novel of your own? Sky is the limit. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir, for always having interesting things to say and inspiring us with your wisdom and love for literature. If you have experienced excellence once, you will never strive for mediocrity again. I warmly invite our esteemed Vice Chancellor in charge, Professor Tarni Karasu, to deliver the presidential address.
Good evening, everyone who are assembled here. Respected Deputy Counsel, Consulate General of France, Mr. Jean-Philippe Rutter, and Alliance Francis, Mr. Lawrence Jellicoe, and Professor Clement Lourdes, Director Culture and Cultural Relations, and HOD of Department of French, Dr. Sharmila Ashraf, and all the French delegates, French department faculty members, librarian, and the students of our university, French department. Good evening, everyone. I think everyone has come for seeing the cinema, but I don't want to take much time. Myself and Dr. Ritit Tyagi is the 2% who are now in between the cinema and this. So this is, as already mentioned, the real hero today is the cinema. That is French films. So I came to know that only 3, I think 5 films they are going to have. So today is the first film. I am really happy to be part of this inauguration function. And as you know, this is the main reason behind is how the cultures. So many of you may not have visited France. the culture is very important. So even when I visited other parts of country, I could relate, even Japan, Korea, I could relate some culture of our culture with their countries. But when I visited US, completely no mindset, all those things are totally different. Their understanding about our understanding here is I studied, I get a job, and I am earning. That is their Indian mindset. Whatever government is paying, how government is getting money, we don't bother. That is our mindset. Whereas in US, they said it is a poor taxpayers' money. The people are paying to us. I am working. I am getting money, salary from the people. So my salary is from the people. Not, they don't say it is a government. So I am here to work for the government. I am a government servant. That is the mindset. It's a large difference. Why I am quoting is it's a large mindset. So whenever any senior person come in even the train or wherever, they respect. That is 60 plus, they respect. They are senior citizen, they work for our country, then I have to respect him. Because without them, our country could not have reached this stage. That is the mindset. So the mindset of the people based on our culture. So what is the culture of the France? And this is going to, you have to see in those angles. So that is the reason behind this. I think our Alliance Francis have chosen a very good movies in this, and it will be very useful to you. Being a French students, it will be really interested for you. So I don't want to take much time, as I told you. So thank you for arranging this film festival. I thank Alain Francis for arranging this. I thank our Department of French for arranging this also. I thank the Deputy Council for coming over here and grace the occasion. Thank you everyone.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your perception of culture with us today. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace to our present, and creates a vision for the future. I would now like to invite Dr. Ritu Tyagi, Associate Professor and Coordinator of the French Film Festival, to propose the vote of thanks.
Mr. Deputy Council, Mr. Jean-Pierre Hutter, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor K. Tarani Karasu, Director, Alliance Française, Mr. Laurent Jalicou, our beloved Director of Culture, Cultural Relations, Professor Clement Lourdes, Head of the Department, Dr. Sharmila Charif, all the officers, our respectable librarian, deans, faculty members of the Department of French as well as other departments, research scholars, and our dear students, a very good evening to all of you. I would indeed agree with most of the speakers that France and cinema have always had a very interesting and long-standing relationship that goes back, in fact, to the inception of cinema itself. And even in recent years, in recent times, we have seen that France has played a very dynamic, in fact, an innovative role in cinema, and often when French cinema is evoked, new wave comes to mind in terms of, major groundbreaking innovations in cinema. And what is interesting about cinema for us also as we gather here within the academic circles is also the fact that, cinema is at the crossroads of, as Professor Clement mentioned to us, entertainment and intellectualism. And French cinema is a beautiful example of that. It provides entertainment, it is a part of industry, but at the same time, it is so innovative and distinct that it also gives us ways to reflect interestingly. Now I come to my favorite part of the event, which is vote of thanks. And I believe, all religions and spirituality cults, however different they are, all converge at a single thought, and that is the importance of gratitude. because gratitude, in fact, is quite a strong sentiment, which is also empowering to us because it gives us that sense of belonging and sense of support. And as I stand here to deliver the vote of thanks, I believe that I'm fortunate enough because I have a long list. So please be patient with me. I would begin by expressing my deep sense of gratitude to the Deputy Council here, who's representing the Consul General of the Consulate of France, Pondicherry, and Chennai. We are really thankful for your presence here this evening, and it means a lot to us. We thank you for taking your time off from your busy schedule to be with us here today. Next, I would like to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor K. Tarani, whose unflinching and continued support is a great source of encouragement, sir, to all of us. And I thank you for your presence here and for your insightful words of encouragement to all of us. I would also, I take great pleasure and joy in thanking our Director, Culture and Cultural Relations, who has been a pillar of support to us in times good and bad, and who's always, entertained us in the right way by his very light-hearted and humorous speeches, just as the one we heard now. My thanks also goes to my colleagues, Dr. Sharmili Jaipal and Dr. Runjun Verma, whose smiles and collegiality keeps our hearts warm. Our tutor, Mr. Tulia Paulus, research scholars of the department who keep our spirits high. Last but not the least, the students who are the throbbing heart of our department. I'd also like to make a special mention here of the engineering wing, who has extended a lot of support because we'll have to be screening the films shortly. A big thank you to the technical team of the engineering department and the horticulture department, who has provided us the plants for decoration. A big thank you to them and to all of you.